What's up, everybody? We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the Metalhead's Journey. Hey, hopefully you guys are still with us here. Sorry about the last couple of weeks. We've been a little busy fighting this hurricane down here. We've all gone through it. We all got our power back, obviously. So hey, we're ready to get back on track. We are back this week. We are doing the number 16 hair metal album of all time. This is from a band called W.A.S.P. The actual album is also called W.A.S.P.
Stop it.
It sure seems like a
W.A.S.P.
It sure seems like a mouthful to have to say it like that. I don't know. I mean, hey, we'll do a quick. Oh, go ahead.
No, never mind. I don't want to steal your thunder that you might have later. So I'll
okay. Gotcha. So hey, we'll do a quick review here of W.A.S.P's career, and then we'll talk about just the history of the W.A.S.P. album.
The lead singer added dots just to be provocative. Like he's already said, like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't stand for anything. They just did that to get the conversation going.
No, it stands for white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
It doesn't.
That's one of the theories. That's all I'm saying.
Look, he's not lying. That is one of the theories. I did look it up.
That's a theory.
I mean, they do say white Anglo-Saxon in one of the songs on this album. So.
They do.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Word for word.
Just
left out the
Protestant. Just throwing that out there. All right. Well, say hey. Like I said, number 16 here on the hair metal list. Probably shouldn't be on this list. W.A.S.P, formed in 1982, is an American heavy metal band from Los Angeles. That's a weird designation for a hair metal band. The band was formed by guitarist and vocalist Blackie Lawless and guitarist Randy Piper. The band went through a bunch of lineup changes over the years. They've released 16 studio albums, including one album called Dave Are We Outside of 15 Seconds?
Yes. Oh my God.
Perfect. They have, including one album called Kill, Fuck, Die that was released in 1997.
That sounds like a
great band has sold. Yeah, the band has sold over 12 million records worldwide. I don't know how many copies they sold to Kill, Fuck, Die. I can't imagine those very many. W.A.S.P, the album, released in 1984, is the band's first studio album. The album has gone by 3 different names over the years. You guys tell me which album title you think is better, okay? So, W.A.S.P, or W.A.S.P, whatever you want to call it. I Want to Be Somebody. Okay. Was an album title at one point, and Winged Assassins.
Oh yeah, I like that.
What's your favorite of the 3?
I have a soft spot for self-titled debuts, so I like that. It's simple, easy.
I think in retrospect, W.A.S.P probably works better, but I bet in 1984, if they had called it Winged Assassins, it would have done numbers.
Yeah, dude. Winged Assassin slaps so hard. Like it should have been that. I wonder if they ever wrote a song in their 16 albums with that. Like, so just to make sure they use that title somewhere else. Hold on, we'll have to look it up. Prior to its original release, the controversial track "Animal, Fuck Like a Beast" was deleted from the album. The Parents Music Resource Center had labeled the song as one of its filthy 15 songs that the group determined to be morally objectionable. Capitol Records subsequently bowed to pressure and pulled the song. The band released it as a single in the UK in 1984 on the indie label Music for Nations, and the single subsequently became a highly sought-after item in North America as an import. The 1998 reissue features the originally intended track list with the song reinstated.
Yeah, and for reference, when we reviewed it, we included it in the album since the band intended it to be in the album and the label just too scared, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start here. So we're on the hair metal list, okay?
Yeah.
And this album sounds, I would say, significantly different than the other albums on the hair metal list. There are moments that are hair metal-ish, right?
But I think you mispronounced better when you said different. It's just significantly better than the other albums that we reviewed so far.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really the. like the framework of the question, but okay. But my question ultimately is like, why is this album on this list? Why is it here?
I will tell you the consensus on why they're there. Uh, they're generally not considered a typical glam or hair metal band, despite sometimes being lumped in with those genres. They are more accurately classified as a traditional heavy metal or maybe shock metal because of the elements that they have. But the fact is that they emerged in the '80s Los Angeles metal scene alongside some of the other metal acts. But because of their attire, their more the
Presentation.
glam side presentation, they
Mhm.
got lumped in with that scene. Now, their sound, I agree with you, is more metal, and maybe that is why, for me, spoiler alert, I love this fucking album. But that's part of the reason why they got lumped into one side. Now, what's more laughable is the fact that later, after a couple of albums, they actually tried to make something that sounded more hair metal with not much success.
Mm.
Yeah, I will say there are definitely songs that lyrically absolutely are hair metal. In
School
terms of
days.
theme. I mean, Love Machine.
On your knees.
I mean, even Animal is not is not completely out of the realm of hair metal in the sense of, you know, getting chicks and all that good stuff. So I mean, they definitely have some hair metal tendencies for sure.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, it's hair metal-ish. There are moments, but I guess I don't know. It's the first album that is not all the way like, yeah, okay, that's hair metal.
Well, I mean, like,
I would say this album is more than 50% regular metal.
I'm not going to disagree.
That might be true, but like,
and
I mean,
think I would say the big driver of that is the vocal style.
Yeah, I agree. I think with a different vocalist, even with all the same lyrics, this probably feels much more like a hair metal album. If you had like the typical crooning, you know, kind of baby face vocalist.
Yeah. Wearing lipstick.
But no, I was gonna say
so if you went and got Gary Sharon, you feel like this would be much more of a hair metal.
I think it would sound much more hair metal. Yes. But no, I was saying like, you know, I think we kind of had. Again, I'm only gonna speak for myself. Like, to Jason's point, I enjoyed this a lot more because it's more traditional metal than the other stuff. I think that's the reason why we, spoiler, didn't like the Rolling Stones album or the Doors album very much, because those were on the classic rock list, and we all kind of felt like, in our definition, those are very weak sounding classic rock elements. You know, not the traditional classic rock that we enjoy, which is very guitar driven.
While they were penalized, W.A.S.P is getting
the benefit of that. So, you know, I think ultimately I think this is, you know, this is a pseudo glam. Like, it fits it belongs on the list, but only just so.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
And I don't even think.
What do you think, Jonah?
Go ahead.
I mean, I more or less agree with everything you guys are saying. I think if we had like a checklist of things that make a band hair metal, there are definitely some elements that you would have to leave unchecked. But those other elements that are checked, I think it's fair to classify them, at least for the purpose of this list that we're doing. I think it fits well enough. There's enough like hair metal moments or sounds that are included. And obviously, because of what hair metal is, the look is super important. You know, the subject matter is super important kind of to that genre, you know, kind of fundamentally to that genre. So I think it fits enough, you know, for at least for a list like this. Like, if we wanted to get super nerdy with it and try to break down all the individual elements, you could easily argue against it being on this list. Specifically for me, I think a lot of the music, not even counting the vocals, like a lot of the music, there are riffs and like the tone of the guitars and the way the bass and the guitar are mixed together with the overall mix. Yeah, exactly. You know, there's some songs on here that I'm just like, oh, that sounds like Maiden, or oh, that sounds like Judas Priest. There's even one song, I don't remember which one off the top of my head, I was like, oh, that sounds like Zeppelin. So like, you know, much more traditional, like heavy metal, a little bit of rock and roll musically. But when you put the whole package together, it definitely feels it feels hair metal. I think glam a little bit too.
Yeah,
and I'm sure when they were playing these live in LA as they were coming up, they were all I'm sure they were all into the hair metal scene for
for all the right
for
reasons.
the partying and all the chicks.
So Jason, hopefully people have been following along with us, and so people by now know that you actually don't like metal,
pretty much.
So it's pretty rare to hear you say that you think an album is great, and to use your own words here, it's fucking great. Yep. So what exactly to you? I mean, why is this album fucking great?
I was talking to Dave about this album last week, and like this is an album that personifies like why doing this journey is so much fun, because I'm hoping to find stuff like this, because whatever I had heard in my 49 years of life up to this point that had to do anything to do with W.A.S.P, I obviously didn't like enough to go, you know what, man, I should go check out this shit ever. And I will say that I think this album is helped by how much I liked Judas Priest album. Because while this is not as good as that album was, this is a very strong album. And in my opinion, there's only a couple of songs on here, really just one, that I would probably say is a skipper. This has a lot of songs that are going to make my rotation list, my like list on Spotify, and you can just sing along. And the vocal style is more guttural, more visceral, and so you can actually sing along to it. Whereas you get some of these other bands and they sing so high, you just sound like shit. So I like I said, I really enjoyed this. It was a breath of fresh air, and I am over the moon happy that we got stuck on this album for 3 weeks and not like the Doors.
Yeah, you brought up a good point.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say you brought up a good point about the singing along. I feel like so far this album has some of the most catchy, like easy to sing along to choruses. Like none of them are overly complicated or anything, but like you just find yourself singing it and it gets stuck in your head, man.
Yeah.
Jonah, what was your overall feeling for the record?
I think the album rocks. It's very heavy metal, rock and roll in some places. You know, like I said, almost every song has a pretty catchy chorus. They seem to know how to write a chorus. There are some misses, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I also mentioned this earlier. The guitar and bass are mixed great. I love the tone of everything. It has that 80s feel that even though I wasn't alive for most of the 80s, I still have a little bit of nostalgia for it because my dad, loved listening to, metal from the 80s and when I was growing up. My uncle too. Overall, it was a breath of fresh air coming off of, some of the stinkers and the other stinkers that are on this list. Like the Poison album and what was the other one? Kicks was okay. But
Porno Graffiti?
Yeah, Porno Graffiti.
Extreme.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, because of those other elements that are in this album and the way they wrote the songs and the obvious inspiration they're wearing on their sleeve, I enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, I'll let Dave go last. I know Dave was pretty fond of this record as well, so I'll sandwich in my moderate negativity here. I just felt like the album was okay. I don't think it's bad by any means. It's going to get a recommend score by the end of this video, right? So I'm not here shitting on the record by any means, but it's funny is in this genre, and I guess maybe this is a testament to the record. In this genre, it seems like the first listen of the album tends to be the best listen, and then subsequent listens you start picking apart some of the stuff that it is not great or some of the stuff that's a little goofy. And this album just kind of stayed where it was. It never got better for me. It didn't really get any worse necessarily. It just kind of stayed. But I don't know. I feel like I'm missing out on the joke or something like that somewhere along the lines. Like Like hearing, Dave and Jason talk about this with such excitement and really a lot of love for the record, I almost feel left out. Because it's like I tried to go back to it and listen to it multiple times to see, like, maybe I'm just being stupid, or maybe I am just a booger-eating moron, right? Self-professed as always, but I don't know. I just couldn't find anything on the record to push me over the edge of this just being pretty much an average record for me. Certainly, there's some standout songs. There's certainly some bad ones too. But I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, and I don't know if I'm disappointed by this or not, or if I'm holding this against it. I'm just not entirely sure it belongs on the list. I don't think there's enough hair metal elements there for it to be there. And again, I don't, look, maybe that makes the album better. I mean, I think it's probably still one of the highest. It's definitely going to be the highest scored album on this list, judging by the way Jason and you guys are reacting about it. So maybe it's for the better, but I don't know. Maybe somewhere subtle, or I'm having like an unconscious bias of kind of holding it back because I don't think it's truly a hair metal record. So, but
that's why four of us are here.
Definitely, it's a good listen. It's a good listen. It's not a bad record by any means. Dave,
I think you make some valid points though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, Josh and I, we've all been friends for a while, so we give each other a hard time, and that's part of the fun. But so I'm not gonna trash Josh's opinion. Obviously, he feels how he feels. I will say I am definitely on the other end of the spectrum. I thoroughly enjoyed this record, like a lot. And I will say it unlike Josh's experience, mine was again the opposite. I think this record got better over time. I found myself putting it on just for fun. Like, I had already made my decision. I had already set my score because, as we mentioned, we kind of been, delayed on this review for so long due to circumstances outside of our control. But I was just listening to it. Like, I'd get in the car on the way home from work, like, hey, what do I want to listen to? I'll throw the W.A.S.P record back on. It's a nice little 40 minutes of my life that's really good, and I'll just jam the whole thing. And you know what? I don't know if this is going to be a consensus, but I struggled really hard with finding a song that I wanted to cut. Like I had a lot of trouble.
Easy cuts.
I had a lot of trouble because to me, and I think that's where the hair metal kind of comes in. The songs that are, I'm sure, that are going to be mentioned are cheesy. To me, they just became charming after a while. Like it was part of the enjoyment of the album. Like, I wasn't born around this time, but like it took me back to like the 80s. Especially with like School Days and all that stuff. Like I said, I enjoyed this album from start to finish. I can kind of go on and on, but for the sake of this review and for the sake of Josh, we'll move forward here.
Do you think if you got to spend 3 weeks with the Poison record, it would have made a difference?
Not a single chance in hell.
Or any of the other, like DLR or Extreme or anything like that?
No, because I think deep down, and I'd mentioned this to Jason, the big difference between I think this and the other albums is, yes, there's kind of like it's not as much hair metal, and obviously I'm not going to pretend that doesn't affect it, but I think ultimately, and I mean, call this a hot take or whatever, whereas the hair metal that we listened to up to this point, I think the primary focus of the members of the band was to get famous, get money, get chicks, and live the lifestyle. For me, I think the primary focus of W.A.S.P, this is like the first time where I feel like we've run into a hair metal band that actually cares about the music itself. And I think that is the key. Well, it's
because all these guys look like goblins too, though.
I mean, look, I'm sure they had, women gobbling up on them. So,
oh my God.
Wow.
So,
YouTube, don't demonetize our video, please.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about a mythical creature known as a goblin.
Yeah.
Mind goblin.
Yeah, mind goblin. What's a mind goblin? Anyway, no, but like,
Dave, who's your MVP for the record?
So, I think there is no choice here.
I think there's gonna be a consensus.
It has to be, but to give some credence to my choice, Blackie Lawless is the lead singer and the bassist. He played bass on this album and I think one or two others out of necessity, and then later on switched to guitar. But he is a guitarist.
Yeah.
He has songwriting. He wrote every song, except 2 songs that he has co-writing credits for, but all the other ones he has sole writing credits for. Mm-hmm. He's the lead singer, co-producer, and I think legitimately is the main reason why I enjoy this album so much is because of his more raw, inspired vocal performance. That sets him apart from the other hair metal albums that we reviewed thus far. So for me, it's easily Blackie Lawless.
Can we just call it a Blackie sweep and move on then?
Yep. I think so, for all the same reasons, obviously.
Hands down.
All right. Jason, hit us with the best riff.
Mine is a deep take, just a short riff again. And it's not even on a song that's in my top 3. It's off of Tormentor. Right before the solo, it's basically just the bridge section right into the solo.
Yep.
It's not even an overly complicated riff, but I love the way that it's played. It leads right into what I think is probably one of the better solos on the album. Great riff. I love the song. It's not in my top 3, but it has the best section that I like as far as the riff is concerned.
Jonah, what you got?
For me, it's got to be the main and chorus riff from The Torture Never Stops.
Ooh, I also have the opening riff for The Torture Never Stops.
Yeah, I think it's the same riff that's in the chorus as well. The opening riff in the chorus.
For me, it's the best bass song, and it gave me. I keep hearing Barracuda by Heart.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right.
But yeah, just overall, that's my favorite riff. I think that's the best one.
See, and I think maybe this is where I had an issue. Is like I had a hard time, and not from picking so many great riffs. Like we'll see next week when we do Train of Thought from Dream Theater, where there's just going to be an unbelievable amount of great riffs to pick from. I settled for Animal, the Fuck Like a Beast, just the intro riff. That's fine. It's a good riff. But I just couldn't come to a consensus on what I thought was the best riff because I don't know. There's just not really like a standout for me.
Dude, I think you're just like I think mentally you just weren't on the wavelength that this album was putting out. Like
yeah, maybe.
Like I thought for sure you were gonna enjoy this record. I thought this was the longest control of all time. Like
no.
Like I'm disappointed.
I can't hold it for 3 weeks, Dave.
I mean, look, you have before.
I'll give you my top tracks here. No honorable mentions. Shocker the cinch here. Number 3 for me. I Want to Be Somebody.
Yes, I did.
Was it?
Oh, okay. I didn't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3 for me. I Want to Be Somebody. Number 2, LOVE Machine, and number 1 for me. I think this is easily the best song, and it's the one that has the most going on in the song. Sleeping in the Fire.
Ooh,
solid song.
Cool song. Great vocal melodies on this song.
I'll go next. It's honorable mention is all of the album. I don't think there's a single cut song. Although, if you've done this before with us, I'm gonna have to cut some anyway. But I don't dislike any of these songs on here. My number 3 is what is that? Is Animal. Fuck Like a Beast. It's a great song. My number 2 is Love Machine. And Josh, hey, look, at least we can agree on this. Sleeping in the Fire is my favorite song off the album. But I do also like I Want to Be Somebody. I mean, I like all the songs. They're all good. Whatever. They're great. But yeah, Sleeping in the Fire. I love the vocal performance on that song is so good as well. I think that's rock solid. And like, yeah, it's just a good song.
Go ahead, Jonah.
All right, so my honorable mention is going to be "Sleeping in the Fire." I'm sorry. Let me back up. My honorable mention is "Hellion." I really like that song. It's got some good.
Hellion's a good one.
It's like some Judas Priest vibes.
Yeah, exactly. The bass goes off on that song. It's got a good verse and verse riff, and the vocal melody is really good.
Shit out of that song.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what I'm saying. I said that before. Like, all these choruses are really. I mean, they get stuck in your head. Anyway, so my number 3 is going to be LOVE, Love Machine. For my number 2, I have The Torture Never Stops, which has my favorite best riff. And then, I mean, you both nailed it. Sleeping in the Fire is my number 1 as well. Ooh, I think that song jams.
Come on, Jason.
It's not going to be a sweep. I've already talked to Jason.
It's not going to be a sweep. I look, for the first time, I don't know in how long, I'm going to have an honorable mention. I have two songs tied for 4th. That is Hellion and Sleeping. Just outside of my top 3. My number 3 is Animal, because fuck like beast.
Yeah. And I can't believe they caved to the record company.
I know. Number 2, I Want to Be Somebody. That's a great song.
That is a great song.
And number 1 is a song that we all had on our top 3, LOVE. Great song. Love that fucking song. Every time I heard it got a little bit better. Yeah.
Dude, that I will say, that song gives me the most like Kiss vibes.
Yes,
just 100%. Like the
you know the one thing that I wrote down.
This whole album is Kiss vibes.
Yeah, you can
Kiss is glam.
You can kiss my ass with that.
The one thing that hooked me with that song so much was the drums on that song. For me, are excellent. They give me a vibe from, and I had to go find it, but the drum sound from "Children of the Grave" by Sabbath. Sabbath did the drums better, but this had an eerily similar sound that I really, really enjoyed.
I think that goes without saying. Bill Ward is certainly a superior drummer to whoever W.A.S.P is trotting out here.
Good, disrespectful to Tony Richards.
All right, so hey, hopefully you guys have been following along with us, and hopefully, if you are a true metalhead, you know that the best makeup of metal albums is 8 songs. Anytime a metal album has 8 songs, that shit is just going to slap automatically.
And if it has more than 8 songs, don't even listen to it. That's a joke.
Don't even listen to it. So what we like to do here is we like to cut down these albums to get down to the 8 master songs here for the record. So this one on the version we listened to had 11 songs, so we have to cut 3 out of here. Jason, take us there.
Okay, so this version had 12, did it not?
No, it's 11.
What's the last song? Show No Mercy?
It's supposed to only be 11.
The Torture Never Stops.
The last song is supposed to be Torture Never Stops.
Oh, okay.
So I listened to the 2 extra tracks as well, "Show No Mercy" and "Paint It Black."
Well, I don't
often advocate for Dave over here, okay? But Dave has done a lot of the hard work for you already. He has created this list, and he has put it in the order that we should listen to it.
And so I cut the songs not to count.
Yeah.
I didn't look at your playlist. I just pulled it up.
The playlist that I have, the playlist that I have, has all these songs on there. But I know.
Right, so you got to cut 4 then.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut. Well, thank goodness, because "Show No Mercy."
I'll also cut "Show No Mercy."
Is cut.
I mean, the band didn't put it on there, so.
So I'm gonna go ahead and cut "Show No Mercy" as the song that doesn't count, which actually helps, because now that changes my grade for the album, for the better.
I just double checked. Yeah, I don't have those tracks in my playlist. Like,
I already told you I didn't look at
it. I don't know what to tell you.
I looked at it, Dave. I use your playlist, man. Thank you for the work you put in for this show.
I try to make it so easy. Anyway.
All right, so, well, fuck, this sucks now, because now I got to cut a song I really like. I'm like Dave. Okay, so easy cut. First song I'm going to cut off this is "On Your Knees," generic blunt sex song. You're done. And I'm going to cut "Torture Never Stops." It's a good song, but it didn't make the cut. I think this is an extremely loaded album with most of the songs in the front section of it, all the way up to the last four being solid. Tormentor is the one exception. So unfortunately, my song that I'm gonna have to cut from the good songs are "The Flame," which I really like. It reminds me of like Meatloaf.
Song. Yeah.
And but if I have to cut one of these other songs, since "Show No Mercy" apparently is not supposed to be on this list, it'd be "The Flame."
I'll hop in. While I didn't have an honorable mention for top tracks, I do have an honorable mention for what I would cut. For me, the one that missed the cut. No, the one that just missed the cut is "Animal," "Fuck Like a Beast." I just think this song is it's so mid. It's whatever.
Come on.
I 100% agree with you.
The only attraction to this song is because he screams "fuck like a beast." That's it,
dude. I legitimately think that the opening 3 songs salvo from this album is what hooked me into this record.
Yes,
like that song is such a good opener. It like prepares you for the record. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it makes my album, okay, but barely. For me, the 3 I would cut, "The Torture Never Stops." Okay. Yeah, that's fine. "The Torture Never Stops," "The Flame," and absolutely the worst fucking track on this record, without a doubt, is "School Days."
God, you're so fucking dumb.
Dude, that shit is a fucking atrocity.
Jesus
I'm embarrassed it exists. Go ahead, Jonah.
All right, well... removing those tracks did screw up my list a little bit as well, because I don't think that either of them were the worst, but that doesn't matter. So my bottom 3, I 100% agree with you. "Animal" is my runner-up for cut. If we were doing 5 instead of 3, that one would have been cut for me. So my number 3 is going to be "B.A.D. Bad." I think that song is okay. There's no bad songs in my opinion.
At least you didn't go for the easy joke. That song is B.A.D. bad.
No. It's got a great opening riff, but it's got a pretty mid solo, and the song itself is just kind of whatever. But again, you can sing along to it, so that's good. My number 2, "On Your Knees," for the same reasons Jason mentioned. It's just kind of it's almost a throwaway. It's the closest to a skipper maybe for me.
It's the most obvious.
In
your face song.
And then my number 1 cut, I think it's the worst song on the album is "Tormentor." I think it's very average song overall. The chorus leaves a bit to be desired. There's clear Maiden inspiration there, but they're not hitting the mark in my opinion. It's like I said, it's pretty average. Not a bad song, just an average song.
I'll go next. I had only 3 to cut because I, reviewed this properly. I cut "On Your Knees." There's nothing wrong with the song, but I do agree that like it is one of the weaker ones, obviously. Surprisingly, I do agree with you, Jonah. I think "Tormentor" is. It was between "Tormentor" or the "Torture Never Stops," and I think there's riffs on the "Torture Never Stops" are just way stronger. So I went with "Tormentor," and then "The Flame" is also a song that I would have cut from the beginning. Keep in mind, I don't skip it. I don't even think to skip it when I listen to the album, but for the purposes of this, I think it's one of the weaker songs of the opening salvo.
Yeah, I only skip one song, and that's "On Your Knees."
All right. Well, hey, so we're coming to the last category here. This is where we like to give our score for the record. And just to give you some idea of how we do this, I know for a lot of folks out there, an average score would be a 7. Well, for us, an average score is a 5. So if we give a score of something that's 4.9 and below, that's various levels of we would not recommend that record.
Oh, sure.
Anything 5 and above is various levels of we would recommend the record. And anything between 9 and a 10 is just an all-time classic record.
Which we've given like 5 of those total in the history of this channel.
Yeah, it's a tough score, especially with 4 of us here. So
sometimes
I'll go first. I think I'm going to give the lowest score for this record. Based on what I've heard. So I'll go first to get that out of the way, and I'll let you guys do what you do. So, like I said, I don't think that was bad. It's definitely a recommend. It just started at this score and just never changed. I'm just going to give it a flat 6.
Okay.
Respectable.
That's higher than I was expecting, actually.
We'll alternate because I feel like Jonah's going to give a lower score than Jason. This is my prediction.
So, yeah.
I'll go next, and then we'll finish up with Jason. So I really love this record. Although, like, you know, I've been talking it up, and that's mostly because y'all guys or Josh has been kind of talking it down. So I kind of feel like I needed to puff up my chest a little bit. So I don't have any crazy scores for this, but I did give it a very, very, very solid 8.2. I thoroughly enjoyed this record. It's going into my playlist, or like my permanent playlist. It is something I will revisit, and I am absolutely going to dive into another W.A.S.P album. You know, I'm gonna look and see what their consensus like second best or album is, and I'll probably take a look at that.
The consensus second best is the album after this. And then after that, dude, that shit takes a steep dive, bro. I listened to their newest record. Just some of it today.
They're still making music?
Yeah. Well, I don't trust your opinion on this band, but I appreciate the heads up. But yeah, 8.2. I really liked it.
Their most popular song is actually on their second album, the next album. It's Blind in Texas.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think I've ever heard it, so.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, so I did enjoy it. This is definitely my highest scored album from this list. Actually, when the mathed out, the score was higher than I was expecting for myself, but the numbers don't lie.
That's
and
right.
I ended up with a flat 7 on this one for myself. I thought it was pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was a really strong record. I enjoyed the shit out of this album. Pretty much start to finish, except for the one song that I think we all pretty much decided we didn't really care for.
Mm-hmm.
I will absolutely, of the 11 tracks, 7 of them made my favorites list, which might be a record for any of this hair metal shit that we've been listening to. Is it a all-time classic? No. But is it worth jamming like just whenever you fucking want to? Absolutely, in my opinion, yes. And with the removal of Show No Mercy, this gets an 8.0. 8 flat.
Which for Jason is like, that might as well be a legendary score for him.
Yeah.
Wow. That puts this, again, I'm going to have this disclaimer before I read this out. It's very hard to get high scores with 4 of us, the way we review and how we do our scoring system. You're going to hear this. If you're a W.A.S.P fan, you're going to be like, just calm down. This is a good score. It gets a 7.3, which is easily the highest hair metal score we've given.
That's a strong recommend.
That is a strong recommend.
Yeah, what's the next hair metal album score?
Score? It is Kicks Blow My Fuse with a 6.2.
Wow, a whole point.
Yeah,
over.
That's still too high for Kicks.
Look, it might be in retrospect. Oh, well, look, put it like this: if I compare it to this album, yes, I might want to go in and chop that down a little bit. But no, that's 7.3 for us. That's a B tier score. That's very good. For reference, going to our top 50 all time list. We gave Kill 'Em All a 7.4. We gave Merciful Fate's Don't Break the Oath a 7.2. We gave Halloween Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 a 7.3. So look, 7.3, nothing wrong with that score. That is a very, very solid score.
That's in good company.
Yes.
I think that's a good score. Because this album's not for everybody. I can see that on the surface.
Mm-hmm. I think it's for a lot of people, though. Like, I think it touches a lot of different. You know, if you're into metal in general, I think it's a safe.
Well, only 75% of the people that the count liked it. So,
if we were all in a car and Josh was in that car and we were singing the songs,
I'd jam it.
I think he would.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, if this video touched you, go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe. We're putting out weekly metal content right now. We got metal reactions, metal reviews, metal time machines, metal brackets, and all kinds of other cool shit. And hey, in the meantime, fuck that hurricane.
Take it easy, everybody.
Later.
Peace.